And it's a happy new year from the boys at the View from the Ninian as we're celebrating a Christmas period with 4 unbeaten, 3 wins, 1 draw since Boxing Day. Cardiff City sitting pretty at the top of the league, and I'm sitting pretty with Ben Price and Ryan March. Ben Price, happy new year.
Happy new year, mate. How are you?
All good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, can't complain.
Well, you can complain. That's the point.
I can, and I do, but right now things are good.
All right. Ryan March, welcome back. He's sitting in for Tom Phillips today because obviously time difference. He goes back to work tomorrow. Didn't want to be up too early. So how does that feel?
Oh, it's huge. It's they're big shoes to fill, physically and metaphorically. Yeah. And it's just glad. It's always nice to get the call up. I'll never say no to the boys.
That's very good to hear. Very good to hear. Right, before we get started about the games, Ben, any Cardiff City Christmas presents this year?
No, didn't actually get anything this year. I bought something for myself. I've gone a bit artsy with this. I don't know if I mentioned it. I went to a fair at Oxford, like the Winter Wonderland things, and managed to find something Cardiff City related in that. And there is a bloke that's gone round and hand drawn all of the, it's like 100 football grounds. So I picked up Ninian Park there. So that was more of a gift to myself, and that's now in front of me. No, it's a little bit too, not shit, but odd to be AI.
Human. It's
human. I'm sure he's delighted with that shout out.
I use a bit of a melt, to be honest, but the art was quite good, so I had it. But I'm quite happy with it. It's Ninian Park from across Dogshit Park. It's the walk we've all made. It looked quite cool, so I was like, I'm having that.
Ryan, any Cardiff City Christmas presents for you?
No, I got a year's worth of toilet paper, so someone could make a joke along that line. But no, every time I come on this podcast, it reminds me I really need some Cardiff City stuff. I used to have loads of Cardiff City stuff, but I just don't own any. But you're there, all the blazing in blue, and I'm just in my black fleece trying to stay warm. So,
I've got a shirt here for you, haven't I?
That I keep on
you do, Ben, to bring, and my wife keeps on reminding me because she's sick of it being in the house. So
we can rendezvous on that. Yeah.
Well, I got the new shirt as I'm wearing today. I also got the trousers that BBM wears when they're travelling, the green trousers. Lovely bit of kit. And the home socks, but no shorts. So just have to make do with the shorts from a couple of years ago.
You're in the 30s. You can't have the full kit, Ben.
Yes, I can. I play football. I never wear it together, but I wear the shorts. I'll wear the shirt, but never together. I'll never wear a full kit together. The former Walthamstow manager always used to say I have like homeless person chic because I'll wear like Joma shorts, an Adidas Cardiff shirt, and like a New Balance jacket with it. It's all Cardiff City, but it's all mismatching, which is a good joke from him. But he got fired, so lucky then. Right, moving on to the games. Boxing Day as well. We'll start. We're going to do this in kind of. We'll talk less about the games that we're further away from today because, frankly, we can't really remember them. And obviously, we'll spend more time talking about Wycombe and Wigan, the two Ws. But it started with Exeter on Boxing Day, Ben Price. 1-0 win for Cardiff, but wasn't exactly the most invigorating of games, was it? Felt like every player on the pitch, apart from the Exeter goalkeeper, probably had a bit too much turkey over Christmas.
Yeah, it was one of those. But it was just nice to get a win on Boxing Day. You forget how bad our record is there, so...
It's like job done. Get or something on Boxing Day. I can't remember what it was.
I think it's been years. Isn't it like only our second Boxing Day win at the Cardiff City Stadium?
Yeah, something like that.
It's something mental like that. So just to get that off our back, all of that lovely stuff, job done. It's not one that people remember, but I did eat a fantastic sandwich while watching it. So that will live long in the memory.
Do you want to talk about the sandwich?
It was just your classic Christmas leftovers one from Fee's parents. So jobs are good in there. Absolutely wonderful stuff. 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Ryan, any good sandwiches?
Mustache.
Yeah.
Sorry, cat's getting involved.
Any good sandwiches eaten while watching the Exeter game, Ryan?
No. Can confirm no sandwiches were eaten, and I did miss the Exeter game. So no help on this one, but good result.
Very good result. I didn't have a sandwich, but Kerry, who listens to the podcast, gave me a free pint. She came over and said, thanks for the podcast, and delivered me a pint. I think that
should be standard now, shouldn't it? That
I did say that, but if someone had done that to me at Wycombe on New Year's Day, I would have been less happy about it. I was a bit hungover at Wycombe on New Year's Day. But I spoke to a lot of people at the game, a lot of positivity around the club at the moment. It was very nice to meet a lot of people who listen to the podcast, so thank you if I did speak to you. Ben, I'll come back to you on this one. Their keeper, Exeter's keeper, not very tall, but very good, wasn't he?
Yeah, don't know how it works. It's one of those ones like he looked like when you play Saturday League and you haven't got someone, so like just one of the boys is filling in. Yeah, and he's filling in. He'll do the job. Basically, he looked like Perry NG in goal. and
Shorter though.
Yeah.
I think he's
very,
5'9",
very good.
isn't he? It's Joe Whitworth. He's
Joe
on loan
Whitworth,
from Palace, and he's 5'9", and famously got called a paedophile when we played them in the cup, and the game had to be stopped, didn't it?
Oh, was that him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was
forgot
him
that was
anyway,
him.
unless they rotated for that game, but I'm pretty sure it was him.
The irony of getting called a paedophile but looks like a child makes you think.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, he's 5'11", but I don't think that's true because he looked very short.
No, I'm 5'11". He's shorter than me.
But he kept him in it at times, didn't he?
Very, very good. Look, it's. I think this is going to be the recurring theme. Good goalkeeping and us not taking our chances for a lot of these games the last few weeks. Tired legs and just very, very good goalkeeping. So he was really good. Probably the best player on the pitch, to be honest.
He was, but I think the best moment of the game goes to Dylan Lawler, Ryan. I'm sure you've seen the highlights, but it was Dylan Lawler at his best, wasn't it? Kind of marauding forward with the ball, picking the pass to find Alex Robertson to put the ball away. I think we've seen the best of Dylan Lawler over the last few games, particularly Wycombe away. From the Welsh point of view, obviously the links to Bayern Munich, all that kind of stuff. It's just brilliant to see a player maturing like that, isn't it?
He's just an absolute pleasure to watch, and it's like him at his best, like when he breaks the lines and carries the ball forward. And I think that's why, like, Bellamy's such a huge fan, and why he's, attracting so much attention. And like, we've just got to enjoy him while he's here, because I don't think he's going to be around long, because players like him don't come around often, especially centre backs. He's got it all, and like, I think what summed him up perfectly for me, and like, to go back to that Chelsea game, obviously he had that error, but he didn't break his stride afterwards. It didn't let him affect him. Not for a player to come back the following game and play so well after making an error, but the fact he was just immediately back to his best after making that error, and I think that is the sign.
Mentality monster.
He's a mentality monster, and like, he's so young and he's still so early in his career, but like, he's just imperious, and like, I'm almost starting to stop noticing him in games because he's just sort of like just so good, and I can't. I will run out of superlatives to talk about him if I continue, so I'll stop there because I want to use more superlatives for him in the future.
Very good, Ben. Robertson got the goal. A mixed period for Robertson over the last couple of games. We'll talk about the Wycombe game shortly, but that was a glimpse of what Robbo is really good at, isn't it? He broke the lines. It was a fantastic run and a very composed finish to get his. I think it's his first goal of the season, or at least his first goal at the right end of the season.
Yeah, it was first. Do you know what? This is what this podcast has done to me. He scored that, and my first thought was not celebration that we've won.
Was it about Oliver Rees?
It was Oliver Rees isn't going to get a tattoo, and I was gutted. I was like, "You bastard! You could have done that a week before, and we could have had some top quality content."
It's perfect timing, isn't it? When I listened to that on the last pod and then saw he scored, and I was like, of course it's Boxing Day. Literally, it's brilliant. I love it.
But the week before scores an own goal as well, just to sort of like make tantalise that there. I think fair play to him. Absolute done me a kipper there, because he knows I sort of probably wasn't the most complimentary about him at the start of the season with everything that's gone on. But
I was going to raise that point. I spoke to a fella at Wycombe. I think his name was Matt. Apologies if I got your name wrong, but I spoke to him for about 20 minutes before the game at Wycombe. And he said one of us had said that he didn't think that Robertson would make an appearance for us this season. It was you, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, that was Ben. That was.
No, I said I didn't think he'd start.
Oh, start. Fine. I couldn't remember.
I said I didn't think he'd start a game for us, because the way it was going, he was just vanishing. I thought he wouldn't start a game for us, and would be sold in January.
Didn't you say that? And then 10 days later, he started in the LDV or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
No, it was in the league, and
it was in the league. Oh, bloody hell! Yeah.
Mick McCarthy. It was a league start. I said he wouldn't make a league start for us, and then he started like literally. I think said that before the international break. Then after the international break, came straight back in the squad, and you've got to own up to it. Screenshot of the message in the chat that I put in the chat, and the starting lineup and the Mick McCarthy. That went well.
I think I've spoken quite lowly of him on the podcast as well, and said that I think he was sort of surplus to requirements and didn't fit what we were trying to do. But he's just a really enjoyable player to watch when he's at his best. And I think, like, even today, he's just full of energy, good movement, really good passing. And I've been proved wrong. I still don't know how much of a long-term future he has at the club, and how much, I think, like, when I think Nathan or Greg asked me today in the ground, saying, like, do you think anyone will go in January? And I was like, no one needs to go as such, but I think there could be bids for Robertson and Turnbull, and I think the club would probably be open to it. I think they both offer stuff for us going forward, but I don't think the club would turn them down because they're probably quite expensive players in the grand scheme of things as well. So yeah, but he's proven us all wrong at the moment.
Well, if the Oxford thing leaked was anything to be done by it, Robertson is a target for them. So I don't know how true that is, because I can't imagine football clubs are going around I don't think we're stupid enough to print off our sort of targets for January and sort of have them on display while the media team's around. But you never know.
Yeah, I just say clubs I can imagine print them off, but putting it in a video, I'm amazed that no one didn't spot that and go, which makes you think it's just them having a bit of a joke around or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was the Exeter game, really. Ryan, we hit the post with Kean Ashford a bit later on. I think we're starting to see the best of Ashford over the last few games, but that was, that would have been nice, wouldn't it, to kind of put a bit more comfort into the game, because 1-0 was a bit edgy towards the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think, same goes for today's game as well. Like, I think we just could do just killing games off a little bit sooner when we do have the chances, and I think that was an example of it. Because, how many times have we seen us get caught out a bit late on? Thankfully, it's not happening as much anymore. So, it would have been nice to have a little bit more comfort on Boxing Day of all bloody days.
Yeah, it would have, but it wasn't to be. And there was no rest for the wicket, Ben, because a couple of days later, Stevenage were in town. Always gets weird at this time of the year where sometimes you play a team, it's been 3 weeks since we played Stevenage, basically, and yet we were playing the reverse fixture. We hadn't even played Wycombe, I don't think, at that point, and yet we've already played Stevenage twice. Funny how the supercomputer always throws up an anomaly like that. What I'd say about the Stevenage game, Ben, is we were much better than the away leg, where it felt like we'd kind of got down to their level and hadn't really tried it, but it was still harder than it needed to be, wasn't it?
They made it difficult, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, they're organised.
I'm just saying, they're very organised. They're very flat backs, very low block, but it was just harder than it needed to be.
Yeah, but I think that's credit to Stevenage. I think I can
don't credit
after the home game. I was really sort of like, the away game. Sorry, like when we played them at theirs, I was like, these aren't a good side. They're just sort of battling through. But the more I watched them and sort of some of the Cardiff City team, I could see exactly what they were about. It was just really, really well organised, well drilled team that sort of they're punching well above their weight. But you can see why it's so difficult for teams to break down. Like why they've conceded as few goals as they have. They're just a good, like, tough to beat League One side. If they're lucky, they'll make the playoffs. But considering most people have to go down, and Alex Ravel's their manager, I think they're punching well above the weight, and fair play to them. But it was, and I think this whole sort of period since Christmas has been get the win, job done, just move on. And that's exactly what we did here as well.
Yeah, Ryan, it could have been so much worse. I rewatched the highlights today, and I'd completely forgotten that they hit the bar quite early on with a speculative free kick. It's one of those, isn't it? He's just hit it, but he's hit it so well that it catches trot completely all ends up.
Yeah, it's almost one of them that, is it a cross, is it a shot? It's just a bit of an awkward one.
It's a cross come cross. And
a cross come cross. Ryan. Yeah. He's playing fuck at the moment. I don't know why. He's been fed. I think he's just strange old guy. Anyway, I think it was one that could have caught us cold. I'm glad it didn't. But it is. Sometimes you've got to take them on the chin, and thankfully it didn't go the other way, because we've been on the opposite end of some wonder goals this season. So I was glad that we weren't that time around.
Yeah, and Ben, the kind of early exchange, you saw Salek have a chance of his own that, again, I'd completely forgotten about. He's about 35 yards out. He just seems to turn and hit it so well, and their keeper's scrambling. It was quite a cagey opening, wasn't it, for both sides?
Yeah, it wasn't a classic, but I'll be honest, until probably the 15th minute in, I was distracted by the pie that I had in the stadium, so I wasn't paying that much attention.
Tell us about the pie.
Credit where credit's due. Cardiff City Stadium, the pies are decent there. They're not Donald's level, but they're
not today. They were fucking shocking today. Greg had one today, and it was shallow and salty and horrible.
Oh.
I had a jerk turkey pie.
A jerky
pie, and I can't fault it. It's like I said, not Donald's level. It's not there, but not for a football pie. It's sort of like been mass made and sort of no real love into it. It was a good pie, and that distracted me for the first 10 minutes. So a lot happened. I was chatting to Nathan as well. Nathan, me and him were having a good chinwag. I had a lovely time, but the football wasn't much to live up to.
When you're eating your pies in the stadium, do you use a fork?
Yeah,
Always.
Good. I'm glad, because I've seen some people eat it like out of their hand, and that's a madness because you're making spills, you're burning yourself, you're dropping it down your top. You're not getting
the full pie.
You go straight in, break up the crust on top, crust and filling all in one go, and then you take the shell out, and then you eat the shell. That's the tactic.
Perfect.
I will live and die by that.
Good. Pie etiquette sorted. Ryan, was there the archetypal Yusuf Salik moment in the first half of that game? And what I mean by that is I'll explain it to you. Cross comes in, he gets pushed into the back. He then pushes the defender in front of him in the back, and the referee penalises Yusuf Salik. Is that the most Yusuf Salik moment we've seen so far this season?
It beggars belief that he had the full Yusuf Salik sort of the whole range spectrum of Yusuf Salikness in that game. We had that moment. I don't know if it was the same moment, but he took his shirt off and tried to give it to a defender.
Offered it to the lad,
and said, "Do you just want my shirt?" Which was great. Then he missed two what looked quite easy headers. Yeah. Then he scored with his arse or whatever it was, which I don't think he knew much about. And then he tried to fight their defenders at full time. Yeah. It was the perfect performance. Like, if every game,
10 out of 10 for Yusuf Salik.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. He's just a joy to watch when he's in that sort of mode. And like, he can sometimes be sort of put out of the game. I think today he just didn't really threaten too much. But like, you know, I will sing his praises forever and ever. And he's just fantastic. But he's so hard done by when it comes to the referee. And I just don't know how that changes and what needs to be done. But to be fair, like, I think he takes it in fairly good humor, as sort of frustrating as it is. He's just got to the point where I think he's just doesn't give a shit anymore, and he's still scoring goals. So no complaints.
I think that's it. That moment couldn't have encompassed like everything that goes against him this season, because it's not even like the guy's pushing and pulling him. The guy puts two arms out and shoves him into the back, and Salik is just responding to that, and the referee's clearly not watching. And I think, to your point about the goal, even the goal, we'll talk about it in a bit more detail because there's some discussion as to whether he was offside. But I think the defender pushes him in the back to try and push him aside, and he gets in front of him and it just comes off his thigh. It was just, I think you're right. When he's in that mood, he's just a joy to behold. He's a shithouse. He's a good footballer, and he has fun with it, and it's really nice to see. Ben, we created a lot of chances in the first half. I think Turnbull put one over. There was some really nice interplay between NG and Davis, but it just felt like it was going to be like Burton, didn't it? It felt like we weren't going to get the goal we needed to take us up 1-up into half time.
Yeah, you could see the whole time we just weren't.
We were forcing it a bit too much, I think,
and just not natural, not like trying too hard to make it happen without sort of working out how to make it happen, if that makes sense. We are trying to push straight through and just go through there. I think I totally understand why he started Perry NG. I think he's been defensively, he's miles ahead of Capaccio at the moment, but you lose so much going forward from NG compared to Capaccio. And NG is fairly attacking, but when you compare it to what Capaccio does, who, when he's got sort of like Davis, or especially when Kellyman came on, and he pins those fullbacks down and sort of pushes you in there so he creates more space. We just didn't have that person running on and sort of creating that little space and a little gap to create chances. And that's sort of where the frustration came from. And we get to sort of like the final third, and it just wouldn't happen for us for a long time in that first half. It just never really got going.
Yeah, I know what you mean about that. But also Perry NG at Lincoln would probably say I was pretty good in the attacking quarter then, Ben.
I think it's brilliant. Yeah, there's been games where he's good, but I think it's just this game especially, and I think today as well, there were times where you sort of crying going, if I can see why he's not doing this, but you think there's space there that Capaccio would have run into that NG isn't going to run into, because they're just very different style players.
And Ryan, I mean, it kind of was shaping up to be one of those nights when Stevenage took the lead, didn't it? I was very critical of their number 44. I think he wears his first name on the back of his shirt, which winds me up anyway, when we played them at Stevenage, because he just couldn't cross. But egg on my face, because that was quite a good finish from him, wasn't it?
Yeah, another a borderline wonder goal at the CCS this year for the opposition just seemed to be on the the wrong end of it, which I think is a good thing, isn't it? Sometimes when the only goals we're conceding are absolute screamers. But yeah, great finish. And I feared the worst at that point because, like Ben said, they were so hard to break down and they're clearly such an organized, and that's their game, isn't it? There's a reason why they're one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, but also have one of the best defenses in their league, and to go away to a side that's above them and get a goal like that, that's exactly what they would have hoped for. And I thought, shit, here we go. We're going to, we're just going to flatter to deceive and we're going to frustrate and we're going to just struggle to break them down. And I know where this is going, but I was wrong. And I'll hold my hands up. I was wrong again.
Patterson, though, does he actually have it? Because if you're called Phoenix, I can understand why he's got on the back of his shirt, because that is quite a cool name.
His name's Phoenix Patterson.
Yeah, but if you're going to be called that, if you got a choice, I'm having Phoenix on the back of my shirt then as well. It's a good name.
My point isn't he hasn't got a cool name. I just don't think you should have your first name on the back of your shirt. It's woke nonsense.
Surnames.
Dele Alli. Speak to Dele Alli.
Different reasons.
Any squad numbers over 18 or 23 in an international game? Not happening.
For you.
We've got way too many players with 40. Way too many players. And I know a lot of them were youngsters, but there was no excuse not to give Capaccio Capaccio hadn't got
he's got 44.
Got one. Lawler. Why does Callum Robinson wear 47? Grow up, Callum. Get a proper.
There is a reason 14. For that, isn't it?
He wants to wear 7. But when he signed, obviously they retired this number 7 shirt, and that was the next shirt available was 7 free. So he's just kept that all along.
Just get a fucking.
Could have gone to 17.
Could have gone to. I don't just. If it was down to me, it wouldn't be squad numbers. 1 would be the keeper, 2 your right back, 3 your left back, and then 4.
You're not thinking of the marketing.
Is 4 a CDM? In my eyes, 4 is your holding midfielder.
4 is a CDM in my eyes, and that's
5 and 6 are your defenders. In Argentina, 5 is your holding midfielder. In some places, 6
Fernando
is your
Gago.
holding midfielder because you have the 6. The role is the 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
8 is your box to box. 10 is your playmaker. 7 and 11 wingers. 9 is your big man, and that's where it should be. 12 is your sub right back. 13 is your sub goalkeeper, and I'll stop there.
Stevenage, despite being in 7th place, have scored half the amount of goals that we have. It's interesting, isn't it? They're on 26. We're on 42.
Yeah, I know who I'd rather be watching.
Stevenage.
Yeah.
But Ben, obviously, I think against Burton, when they went 1-0 up, it kind of frustrated us. But I think with this game, it felt like more than ever, it just really concentrated our mind. And Kellyman had come on, and we'll talk about how good Kellyman was. But it felt like they went, oh, we've actually got to turn it on here. And they did, didn't they? For the last half an hour, I think it was some of the best football I've seen us play in a little while. We were so intentful in our attack. The ball was going wide, left to right, and we created chance after chance.
Yeah, it was the kick up the arse we need. I think we've probably been too guilty of needing that at times. There's been quite a few occasions where we've conceded those goals. But I think the growth and sort of, again, the encouraging signs of we've not just... I think and every manager sort of when we've come in over recent years... We've very early on hit like the limit. Bullet, we hit that peak very early on.
Yeah, pre-season with Bullet.
Omar Reza never really. Well, I say that. Reza sort of hit a peak very early on. McCarthy peaks very early on. Yeah. It's that, and then it just sort of steady declines. Each week of what we're doing on the BBM, there's just little improvements. Even if the results aren't as flattering, you can see that we're getting better and better of a better side. And again, it was reflected in sort of our response to conceding that goal because, changes were made and we absolutely peppered them after they scored that goal and we deservedly equalised and then went on to get the winner.
Yeah, and Ryan, the goal we scored, the Callum Robinson goal, was exactly the kind of goal you wanted to kind of for someone to grab the ball out of the net and run it back to the penalty spot, wasn't it? The halfway line, sorry, because it kind of pinballed around. It took a couple of deflections. It went in, but it felt like the kind of crystallizing moment was like, okay, we're going to go on and win this now because we scored ugly. We were playing lovely football, but we scored ugly.
Yeah, we scored 2 absolutely horrific goals, really, didn't we? But they all count, and like good teams do that, and like it can't all be Perry and This is Lincoln. It can't all be Callum Chambers today. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you just got to literally score however you can, and we did. And at that point, then I think that was the subs came after the equaliser. I can't remember the triple sub.
I'll check now.
The triple sub was the turning point, and I can't remember if the goal.
The triple sub was around.
Triple sub was just before.
Yeah, 60 minutes.
Yeah, and then like the triple sub, we kicked into gear. Callum Robinson scored, and I was like, it's inevitable now. We overloaded them, and like it's exactly the same subs as what, or similar subs to what he did against Mansfield. We were 1-0 up against Mansfield, so slightly different circumstances, and they were coming back into the game. And then he brought Kellyman and Capaccio on, put them on the right-hand side, and we just tore them to shreds. And we scored, and Leighton Orient as well, I think was the same. So, and like, I just think that extra man and like Perry and G just doesn't have what Capaccio does in the attacking areas. Although he probably offers a lot more defensive stability, but like Capaccio just creates that extra man to think about, and they just couldn't handle it. And then from there, it was just inevitable as soon as we scored, because we were just turning it on and turning the screw. And I think we're so good at doing that. And it's sort of become a thing now. Half an hour to go, the subs come on, we show off our strength in depth. It's almost like every game I've seen at the CCS this year follows a very similar pattern. And I love it. It's really, really enjoyable to watch.
It's nice to score a goal match scramble, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like it's a goal that like invigorates you in a different way. Because it's like, yeah, we could have scored a nice goal and we'd have deserved that, but it was like bouncing around, and it's like, yes, it finally went in.
It was that in the crowd, sort of that, every one of those, and then the relief of the yes is always class with that, because not enough goal match scrambles to score. Too many are sort of, you've got that hectic 30 seconds and it just gets slammed out. To put it away, it is a goal I did enjoy.
Mandela effect. It was a double substitution. Capaccio and Kellyman came on at 60 minutes. It was only a double sub.
Yes,
there was a triple sub later on, I think, or double. No, double sub at 83.
There was a double then. Cole 86.
And God, we don't have another player beginning with K, and they were all coming on at the same time. Headlines write themselves.
They do indeed. Ben Kellyman showed his class, didn't he, when he came on? I think I saw some Stevenage fans moaning after the game, being like, "Oh, you had to bring on your £19 million man to change the game." And it's like, yeah, we did, and he did change the game because he was the danger man, wasn't he, for that last half an hour?
But they're saying that like we paid 19 million for him as well.
We got him on loan, baby.
Yeah, Chelsea paid that for him. We can't control what they're doing to allegedly breach FFP rules. Ain't on us, but we'll take it. I think at the moment he's better coming off the bench. I think there's so much talent there. I think, but he's very, very raw at times and tries a bit too much. It's great that he's got confidence, and like you see when he came on in this game that. It's deserved confidence. It's not an arrogance. It's not sort of like unjustified. He's extremely talented, really tricky, and when he's on form, he is a nightmare for defenders to deal with. Because like Stevenage for their goal record, like the defensive record, didn't stand a chance there. Just absolutely destroyed from the minute he came on. But I think it is for now until he sort of gets a bit more consistency for 90 minutes. He's better coming on in that sort of 60-minute mark. And what a sub to make as well at that point, because. I said he had their fullbacks in knots. Him and Capaccio just absolutely rinsed them.
And I'd also give praise to Willock there, Ryan. I think we've seen the best. You could talk about Ashford, Willock, Kellyman. We've seen some of their best play over the last couple of weeks. I mean, Kellyman was pretty poor at Wycombe. We won't talk about that. But it was Willock who made the goal, wasn't it, for Salek? He just whipped it in. Salek was there being pushed into it. Was there a hint of offside for you, or was he in line with the defender?
I didn't feel at the time it was offside. I was enjoying the goal too much. So we'll say it was a clearly onside. But yeah, Willock seems to be when he's on it, he can just glide past people. He was doing it today as well, just like turning people inside out. And he's just and Kellyman was the same, like the ability to just go beyond the man and just make it look easy. And yeah, one good delivery in the box causes havoc. And yeah, fair play, Chris Willock. I said at the start of the season as well, like Robertson. Don't need him. He's a passenger, but I think on his day he's one of, if not one of the best wingers in the league.
All right, great. It was a big win against Stevenage. And on to New Year's Day now, Ben. A trip to Wycombe. Before we talk about the game, one thing I will say about Wycombe, lovely stadium, lovely vista behind the stadium, lots of trees and hills, very nice. There is no need in a town like Wycombe for your stadium to be an hour's walk away from the main train station.
Is it an hour away?
It's an hour and 1 minute away from the main train station, which is.
To be fair, you have got to get through Farthing Woods to get to the stadium, so from
and
like
I
the
saw
pitch,
the
just
animals
an
off.
arse end of nowhere.
Yeah, it's in an industrial estate where there are aerospace businesses, chair businesses, because they're the chair boys, obviously, and then the Wycombe ground. It's a lovely little ground. It just, I didn't think the town was big enough to be an hour away to the stadium. You know, like even in Cardiff, which is arguably, obviously, a bigger city than Wycombe, the stadium's 20 minutes, half an hour from the town centre. It just struck me as odd. That's all I'll say.
I went when we played them in the friendly, would have been 2 years ago. I was living in London at the time. And I remember looking at the train thinking, oh, surely it's not that hard. It would be like a 45-minute train from Paddington or whatever it is. Not even that. And yeah, it's ridiculous. So I drove in the end. So, yeah. Make of that what you will. Don't come at me, green people.
Is your car electric?
No, God, no.
Boo.
Diesel.
Boo.
No, I don't have a diesel car. Not made up for anybody, am I?
You've got Mike Bubbins' lead petrol car.
Red diesel.
Extra lead, please. All I saw of Wycombe was the McDonald's because my mate Jack wanted a McDonald's before we went to the ground. So I had a milkshake.
Hope you enjoyed, Jack.
He did. He put him back right. We were quite hungover and we got the train and the train was boiling. And there's nothing worse than when you're hungover than being boiling. We were so hot. And we got there. It was fine. It was very
I had a good chippy last time I went. So there's a good chippy nearish the ground. There was the pub on the corner by the roundabout. Was that the away pub again?
Yeah, that was there. That was there. But we were a bit late.
And then across the road there's a chippy. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Lovely. Tesco's is by there as well. Anyway,
yes, there is.
Let's not talk about the infrastructure of the city. Let's talk about the game itself. Ben, we were so good for that opening sort of 25 minutes, weren't we? Obviously, we opened the scoring in that time, but it just felt like a bit like the Wigan performance today, which we'll get to. It just felt like we completely hemmed them in, completely dominated the ball. And obviously, we went 1-0 up, but it just felt like we could have done so much more with the ball when we had it.
Yeah, again, not killing teams off. I think it's the story of this whole sort of period between Christmas, this sort of hectic period. And it bit us in the arse a bit in the end because, like you said, the first 25 minutes, I thought we were brilliant. Ran our arses off non-stop. Good tack, and then it sort of fell apart. Then there is an obvious reason why it fell apart, but I think to start with, yeah, for that first 20 minutes, you can't fault we were away. I was watching that at home thinking this is going to be quite comfortable. This should be sort of like a routine victory. This is us looking like a team that are top of the league and playing with a lot of swagger and a lot of confidence, which was really refreshing to see.
It was, and the goal, Ryan, came with some of that confidence and swagger. It was an absolute thunder bastard from the angle by Chris Willock. He hit it so well, didn't he?
Yeah, like I wasn't watching the game. I was watching Penabont on New Year's Day, and in the equally depressing town of Llanelli. Sorry if anyone from Llanelli is watching or listening. But yeah, like when I saw the notification, like Ben said, I thought, okay, yeah, 6 minutes in, it's going to be a nice routine day. And then I saw the goal afterwards, and I was like, bloody hell! Like what a strike! And
so well,
yeah, just so clean and so lovely. And yeah, shame that was sort of the peak of the game in the end.
Yeah, Ben, we could have made it 2-0 not long after. Joel Colwell, who in those games you realise how important Joe Colwell is to things like the press. Obviously, he was playing in the kind of the front of the two holding midfielders. He's the first one out. He's the trigger for everything. He's the one who's chasing the ball down, and it almost paid off with him getting a goal. I don't want to criticise him too much, but he didn't need to hit it as hard as he did he?
No, it's a rush of blood. I think a year or two from now, he's putting that away very comfortably. It was just, he's a young lad, away game.
Yeah.
Rush of blood, and he's just putting his
his
foot
name
through
in
it.
headlights.
He's thinking the celebration before he's actually scored it. And we've all been there. We've all thought about it. But,
God, yeah.
It was costly in the end.
Yeah, and I've watched it back a few times, and I think the most annoying thing about it is their keeper, who's fucking dreadful.
He was bad.
He just seemed to sit down before Colwell's even striking the ball. And I know Colwell's looking at the ball to strike it. He's got his head down and he's just thinking, I just need to hit this as hard as I can to get it past the keeper. But if he just a bit of composure and a look up, and I think he can place it into that corner so beautifully because the keeper's gone. The keeper's in the middle of the goal. He's gone right, and he could have put it in past him so much slower.
But I think that sums him up as a player, doesn't it? He is non-stop.
He's full throttle. He's full throttle, yeah.
And it was just everything about him, like even with that, was just a million miles an hour. And he'll learn from it. Look, I think he's done incredibly well coming into this. It's considering he's not playing like I think last year when he was at Cheltenham and he did well, it was because he was playing every minute of every game, near enough. Then he went to Exeter, he was in and out of the squad a bit, and he probably wasn't as consistent as you'd like. So he's coming into a very, very competitive midfield at Cardiff. And when he's coming on, he's not looking at a place. He'll come good. It's just, it's one of those. I still think he's having a very, very good season. So we can forgive him that 1 miss. I think he'll win us more points along for the rest of the season. I think he's going to be a long-term player for us.
Listen, Ben, we're a podcast talking about Cardiff City. If we don't talk about the minute details, then we don't really have much content. So I don't want to criticize Joel,
but we should. Maybe this is the tactics going forward now, is just to really hammer players every time they do anything wrong. Say that we should sell them, really, like proper talk sport it, go nuclear on stuff. And that's football and football media these days, isn't it? It's like Joel Colwell, worst fucking player in the world. What's he doing at our club? Get him out, missing that chance. And then like next game, he'll go and score, and we're like, bloody give him the Ballon d'Or lifetime contract. So
you have to
maybe that's the tactic going forward.
You have to speak in absolutes. There's no nuance in football media.
Exactly. Nuance.
Everything. Nuance? Yeah, nuance. What is nuance? I don't want it. So Joel Colwell, fucking shit, get rid.
Yeah, get rid.
Sell him. Yeah, sell
him. Yeah, good.
Lives near Britain Ferry's ground. There's a fact for you. Don't know where exactly, and I wouldn't want to divulge that information on the podcast.
I'm all right with slagging him out, but I'm not doxing him.
No, Christ, no.
God. I love you really, Joel, if you are listening.
Love you,
Alex Robertson, Ben. This was, I think, when you look back on it, probably the turning point in that first half where things started to unravel a little bit. And I don't want to be too critical of Alex Robertson because I think the referee was possibly the worst referee we've had this season.
Big call.
And I'll explain more when we get to the second half. And I don't think he deserved to get booked. Booked. Why did I struggle to say booked? I don't think he deserved to get booked because it was his first foul. And I do think it was quite a hefty challenge. But the referee should have at that point just gone, next time it's yellow. But he booked him so quickly that he was on that tightrope. And it did look like, didn't it, Ben, that he was one foul away from a red card at that point.
I think it was a booking. I think the referee, to be fair to him, got that right.
What I will say is I think I can see why he's booked him, but it was it was the first, I think, foul in the game at that point that was anywhere over a little push and a pull. And I think a more sensible referee would have just gone, you're excited, calm it, or next time you're getting booked. That's just my opinion on what should have happened.
I kind of get that, but I think I think if he didn't book him, I think he probably got in a bit of trouble. I think from there you did see the worst of Robertson. I think that sort of
wasn't it?
Where he sort of had it on in them for the rest of it, and it's good management by BBM to sub him. But it is also a shame, and I think he did let the side down for the rest from there because his substitute, he was like on the ball, he was fantastic. Off the ball, his attitude stunk, and that's sort of where my problems still lie with him. I think he's still got a lot of growing up to do there. And that sort of probably, I think, the second Turnbull came on, who's a complete. It's not like I don't think Turnbull did anything wrong. I think he's improved. His appearances since probably the Chelsea game have been quite good.
Yeah.
It's just he doesn't have he's not as dynamic and doesn't have quite the same energy that Robertson has going forward. And that's where it sort of fell apart. And we sort of went from a side that looked like we could win this like comfortably to a side that weren't getting it forward enough, weren't sort of playing with enough energy, and the tempo just slowed right down to sort of let Wycombe get back into the game. And I think it is all on Robertson that I think this draw does sort of rest on that moment of him getting a booking that he didn't need to do that tackle. It was a tackle that he just didn't need to go in and do. So it's on him. I think, as harsh as it sounds, I think this result is just on him.
What I will say about the difference between Turnbull and Robertson, it was that in that first sort of 20 minutes, Robertson was getting into the box. He was getting on the end of things. He was trying to make things happen kind of within and around the box. Turnbull just doesn't seem to have the, even though he scored that goal against Chelsea, his instincts seem to want to keep him outside the box and on the edge of things rather than breaking the lines and getting into the box and kind of trying to get on the end of things. And I think that's where the difference was. All of a sudden, the pressure that we built up with all our players kind of pushing forward and getting onto the edge of the box and hemming the Wycombe team in, Turnbull's natural position kind of relieved that a little bit. And I think from there, Wycombe's kind of seized the initiative. And they scored.
Him and Wintle, when it comes to that, occupy a very similar space, don't they?
Yeah, they're very similar.
I think,
yeah.
So that's sort of there. You go from having 4 men in the box then, sometimes 5, to one
having
less player.
3,
and I think that makes
4,
it makes it much easier to defend them for the attacking team.
And what I will say is, I think Wintle was our man of the match against Wycombe. I thought Winter was fantastic, and I just don't think. But I do think Robertson coming off kind of disrupted things. And their goal, Ryan, Wycombe's goal, I can only describe as honking. Any further takes on it?
Stinking,
yeah. Humping,
yeah. Bumping,
Gopping,
yeah. Is that what you just said?
Gopping.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, humming,
yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Humming it is.
That's humming, that is.
Humming.
Yeah. I think the kids would call it sweaty. That's
Yeah,
when you
sweaty.
you hear thrown around now by the youngsters.
Yeah.
All
All of
relevant.
those. All of those. Who are you blaming?
I don't even know if you can blame anyone, really. It's just one of those. It's just sometimes it just goes through people. And the thing is, you could say, oh, someone should have got a foot on it. But to be fair, if someone got a foot on it, it probably would have gone in the net anyway. It's quite good. Yeah. It's just one of those that goes into the old corridor of uncertainty, innit? It just goes into a really different, and because it's not high either, is it? It's not lofted in. It's like that sort of like abdomen level. Do you know what I mean? Where like you don't know whether to go for a chest or a head or use your feet, and it was such a busy box, and like it could easily have bounced one way or the other, and it just so happened to not really bounce off anyone and just go straight in. And like you just got to, they happen, don't they, in these games, and you've got to deal with it. And unfortunately, like I say, like the Stevenage goal, I thought when they scored that, I thought, oh shit, we're done now because they're going to sit in. Whereas I thought when they scored, I was like, all right, we're going to kick on and do them now. So in those, it's just a football season, isn't it?
It is, and I think for me, it was almost like the alternative of today's performance.
I
think. Excuse me.
Alternative, you say?
Alternative. Yeah, I don't know if you heard alternative Wales, right?
Yeah.
There were times I got really frustrated during the Wycombe game, particularly in the second half, because I think we were the better team by a long way. Trott doesn't really make a save in the second half. We kind of dealt with them defensively. Onyedinma up front was a handful. Lawler dealt with him perfectly. They didn't really threaten in the same way as we did in that second half. But
I mean, Robinson missed a chance from about 3 yards out.
Well, yeah, and I also think there were times, whereas in today's game against Wigan, where we got to the edge of the box, we would put a cross in, we would work it into the box somehow. Against Wycombe, we would get to the edge of the box, and our default, and I don't know if we froze, I don't know if there was the way Wycombe was set up, it was quite hard to tell because they were so far down the other end of the pitch, but it just felt like our default was to go back down the line, go back across to the other side, and then try that, and then that didn't work, we go back to the middle, come back to the defence. It just felt like in that second half, we were a bit... We froze a little bit, Ben. It felt like we froze a little bit in that second half. As much as we made chances and we were the better team, we should have been a lot more clinical and we should have been a lot more willing to shoot and put balls in the box for me.
Yeah, we just lacked that cutting edge, didn't we? It was a very last year attacking performance.
Exactly that.
Very, very blunt, very sort of running short of ideas. And like I said, and this probably gets into like the tweet I put out of like, Wycombe probably with.
Here we go. He's going to defend himself.
I think it's what I said was fine. But yeah, look, Wycombe sort of were a bit opposite to that, where they didn't really create clear-cut chances, but they had those sort of moments where if you're a fan walking out of that ground at 1-1, you're probably thinking, oh, we could have possibly nicked that. There was 3 points here if they did a bit more. Same with us. We should have won that game by, it should have been 3 or 4-1, realistically, if we're sort of like at our best. And sort of, I think if this wasn't a game that comes in a period of like a mental few months, I think you look at the amount of football we've played in December is
insane, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's 4 games in the last basically 10 days.
I know.
Yeah. I'm looking at this now. We're 45 minutes in, and admittedly we talk a lot of shite, but even still, we have spoken a lot about the third game. We've still got one more to talk about. It's a lot of football, and
all of that's happened since the 26th. That was 10 days ago.
Yeah, 10 days.
I know that like there's a lot of sort of tradition in the Christmas period, but that there doesn't need to be a game between Boxing Day and New Year's Day.
The 29th game was completely pointless.
And like I had a really nice evening, because what are you doing on the 29th, Ben? We went and we had a drink in the pub earlier before, and it was a really nice day out. But like realistically, it doesn't need to happen. And to be honest, they could have done away with this weekend's games as well. usually this would be FA Cup weekend, wouldn't it? But because the
Yeah.
Saturday was the 3rd and too close to New Year's Day,
it's next week. Now.
That's why we had to play on Sunday. So the FA Cup's next week. But the FA Cup being on the 10th of Jan, it's got to be a single figure January. You know, it's got to be single figures. But yeah, I think realistically, if you're looking at the calendar, we could have done without that game on the 29th. There's plenty more periods in the.
I don't think anyone is going like if that game happens in February, it's Tuesday night in February. I don't think anyone's going to be, I wish there was football there. Like, I have watched and I love watching football, but I've watched so much football between, all of December. It got a bit too much where, like, the Man City and stuff games are. I volunteered to do the dishes today because there's just too much. I'm not asked. I'm just done with it. I just you need that break and sort of disconnect from it. There's just been so much football.
Yeah, try following two teams.
I think between now and the end of the season, we only have five more midweekers between now and May.
Yeah.
So it's like, why couldn't you just put
silly.
6 in at some point instead of playing on the 29th? I agree with you. But back to the Wycombe game. We have to. You mentioned it already, Ryan. But Callum Robinson's miss. He did apologise. Fair fucks to him on Twitter. But it was a terrible miss, wasn't it?
I'd have put my money on Ben Price putting that in the back of the net.
And he has to wear goggles to play football.
I've seen you do it. That's what I mean, Ben. I've seen you do it, you know? I know you've got it in you. But yeah, I mean, I guess every striker's allowed a couple of them in the season, or maybe not a couple, but happens and into the best of them. I feel like I'm saying that to a lot of things today. And Wycombe go, it happens. Deal with it.
But that's what
it happens. Deal with it. Yeah,
we can afford to say it when we're 4 unbeaten over this period. 3 wins. Is it 8 wins at home in a row? Top of the league. Like, we're okay. We can say it now because, and I think at the time, again, it was at the other end of the pitch. Brian Barry Murphy has a thing. I saw it in kickoff where he wants us to swap around. So we're playing, disrupts them that way because he came on and was very pointed at Ryan Wintle about doing that. But I thought it'd been given for offside because I couldn't really tell what happened. And I assumed it had been given for offside because he missed so badly that he was distracted by the offside flag going up, and that was his excuse. But no, it was just a terrible miss. Yeah. And that would have made, it would have, put us a couple extra points clear. And I think it would have made such a difference to the rest of the game because it was a very frustrating second half all round. I think I've touched upon it, but I think the refereeing, and it wasn't just for us. I know, Ben, you agreed with the yellow card, but the refereeing was incoherent at times. Like, they could have had a penalty for Capaccio hauling down one of their players. The referee didn't want anything to do with that. In the second half, I think it took us until at least the 65th minute to get a free kick. The rest he'd given as advantages where there was no advantage. He booked Yusuf Salak for stretching without realising that the player was coming in behind him to get the ball. He booked him immediately. It was like the most clear-cut yellow card he's ever given at that point. But then he didn't book Onyedinma for a very late and high challenge on Dylan Lawler. And then he booked Dylan Lawler for kind of sarcastically applauding him. There were times where we were shouting, "You're not fit to referee." And he was looking directly into the away end as if it was like staring us down. I've never seen a referee like it. And it wasn't, and I think back to it now, because obviously I'm a few days since the game. There wasn't a particular moment where it's like, that is a terrible decision. The refereeing just made no sense over the 90 minutes. And it was so frustrating to watch because I don't know where these refs come from, Ben. Do you?
No, usually from the north of England, aren't they? That's where most refs.
Yeah, that's where most refs come from. I don't even know who refereed our game again. I'll look it up. You can carry on, Ben. I'll look up who refereed our game.
It is an issue, I think. Like, for all we moaned last year about the standard Championship refereeing, League One refereeing is so far off it, it's ridiculous.
So bad.
And I dread to think what a step down from that is like, because it's just frustrating. You'd be better off having the manager doing what we do, like at the level I play at, just having one of the coaches ref it. Because it would be a better game of football, because it's not just a case of like getting decisions wrong. It spoils the flow of games. It really, like, the advantages when there's no advantage. It's a lot of football. So it's a game of football being managed by someone, especially at League One, just don't understand what football is at times or what people want to see. And it's just odd. And it's frustrating that, like, even when it's going well, we're still sort of talking about it. And it could, it's going to cost teams massive amount of points. It's going to, refereeing decisions are probably going to be the reason why someone like Stevenage or Luton miss out on the playoffs, because just that one decision is going to go against them. And the manager will come out and complain. And it's all down to sort of like the quality of the refereeing. I know the game's faster and I know referees are going to be a lot fitter, but there's got to be something there that sort of looks at it and go, right, even if it's not like the cliche of getting former players to referee, getting them in to sort of talk it through. It's dictated by referees who don't understand how professionals play. And it's very obvious at League One that that's what's going on.
I just Googled it. His name's Alan Young. He's the director of the Bedfordshire FA. The two headlines I found for him are blunder referee who caused chaos in Leyton Orient's win over Hartlepool will face no punishment after talks with FA.
Great word.
That the Sun have gone, that was a timekeeping clanger. And then when Keith Curl was at Northampton, it says Curl accuses referee Young of total lack of respect after Hull City defeat. I don't know what happened there. I found a tweet from a guy called Terry Thomas that says, in a world full of shit referees, Alan Young sits atop the dung heap.
Well, there we are. I found his transfer marked, Ben, which I didn't realise. You can find all the games he's done this season.
I did look at that, but mine's in German, so I
mine's in German, but everything else. League One. Okay, yeah. He's had 7 games in League One and 4 in League One and 7 in League Two this season. So not too, he's more of a League Two referee. 1 in the National League. Yeah. So the last game he refed was us. Before that was Mansfield versus Stockport. Stockport won 2-1. He's shown 85 red cards 85 yellows in 19 games and 2 reds. So make of that what you will.
It was just, it did spoil the game, and it kind of just became a bit of a joke. There were times where you didn't know what he was going to give, and there were times with the linesmen who were completely useless, by the way. They just don't help their referees. There was a moment where it was so clear that the ball had come off a Wycombe player before going out for our goal kick, and the linesman pointed at the corner flag. It's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you there if you're just going to get the decision wrong?
And that's when they go on to score that goal that was disallowed, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just again, shouldn't I'll say it shouldn't have been a corner, but I don't think that goal should have been disallowed.
I can't even remember the disallowed goal, Ben. You tell me.
Or am I thinking the Stevenage? I might be confusing that with the Stevenage game, actually. Stevenage game, sorry, yeah.
Game. I thought I'd forgotten something then. I was hungover.
Sorry, no, I was thinking the Stevenage game.
There was no disallowed goal in the Stevenage game, was there?
Yeah, that's the centre-back screamer.
Yeah. We didn't talk about that. It was a foul on Nathan Trott. It wasn't a corner.
Forgotten it.
It wasn't a corner. It was a foul on Nathan Trott, and the referee also seemed to give a handball. So it's not clear why he gave it. I think it was a foul on Trott, but the Stevenage Borough.
I can see the foul on Trott, but other way around, we'd be fuming at that decision.
I also didn't say fair play for the Stevenage fans who seem to make a holiday of coming to Cardiff. They had a great time.
I love that.
It was fantastic. So fair fucks to them.
And they've turned up in better numbers than Wigan did today. And if you like percentage of their home attendance, they only get 3,000 or 4,000 home. They are a relatively small club and they're punching well above their weight. There was about 500 or 600 of them, and there was a dribble of Wigan fans there today, and they've won an FA Cup. So
dribble.
It was a dribble of Wigan fans. But they are, as Nathan was pointed out to me, they're a rugby league town. So,
They are indeed. Before we get on to the Wigan game and all your tweets, I just wanted to praise Dylan Lawler again, especially in the Wycombe game. He was up against a bit of a handful in Onyedinma, Dinma, who is quick, he's big, he doesn't give you a minute's notice, a minute's break, sorry. He pushes and pulls you. I thought Lawler went toe-to-toe with him and was brilliant against him. We also saw the best of his composure at the back. There were moments where he's bringing the ball clear and he's pinging 60-yard diags across field. And now we've got Will Puscott, and him who can ping diags across the pitch.
Callum James was doing it today.
Callum James was doing it again today.
He almost scored a screamer as well late on in the Wycombe game. Callum Chambers.
Yeah, the Callum Chambers goal. Yeah, I mean,
what was to come.
And that was the thing that frustrated me the most about the Wycombe game, was like that was the closest we came to scoring apart from Callum Robinson's chance in the second half. And it came from just a bit of a speculative effort, which he hit beautifully. It was so well struck. It curled round. Keeper didn't really have a chance, but it just snuck wide. But he was saving his best goal for today's game, the Wigan game. Obviously, Cardiff won today, 1-0 against Wigan. Ben, the question I've got for you to open this is, have you ever seen a game where we dominated the ball as much as we did today? I think it was 658 passes, 82% possession, 38 crosses, 18 corners. I can't think of a time we've ever dominated a game like that. Can you?
No, and we can clip this and I'll put it out on socials to rattle people. But I genuinely believe this. I think that Wigan team were the worst team I've ever seen play football. I've never seen a team.
You've
never
played
seen
for
a team.
Rogerstone thirds, Ben. You must have come across some dreadful teams.
I played for Rogerstone fourths the other day, and fuck me, I think even Wigan would be negative against them. They offered nothing. You think like people slagged out Stevenage for what they were doing. At least they were trying to get it forward. Like it was hoof and it was sort of up in the air, but like there was a game plan.
I don't know what I agree with you actually. Not the worst thing I've ever seen. I don't know what they were doing.
They made 94 passes in 90 minutes, in 94 minutes of football. It's a successful pass a minute. They had 18.5% possession, and all their game plan was to stick 8 or 9 men behind the ball, and then hopefully it would sort of fumble up to their striker who would sort of hold it, but other lads would get involved. I think if you're a Wigan fan, you must be seething at that performance from their manager there, because that's not players not listening to the manager. That is players listening to a manager's game plan and putting it out. And it was fucking embarrassing for them. I think the only thing they had going for them was that like they didn't get stuck on because they just stuck so many players in there we couldn't find a way through. But even at 1-0 down, they weren't looking to make anything up. They were happy with a 1-0 loss. You must be absolutely raging at that performance. I think like it's a pathetic club at the best of times. Like, all right, they've won the FA Cup, but
Won the World Cup.
World Cup. Sorry, even Whelan wouldn't admit to that. But like, yeah, I think that it's just. If you can't tell, I'm not a fan of Wigan as a club anyway. But fucking just atrocious.
I couldn't believe it. How bad! I couldn't believe how little they tried to do. And they had one sort of half chance early on that I think sort of. I need to rewatch how it happened. Trott had to make a save, like a diving save, but that was it.
It was the NG one, wasn't it? That him and NG kind of came together, and I think
the ball just sort of bounced up. But like, I've never seen a team just like be so happy with doing nothing, and like they were so concerned with not conceding a second that they just didn't go for it. Like, surely they would have been better off trying to get a 1-1 draw than like, just than losing 2-0. It was bizarre. It was absolutely bizarre.
In the 4 minutes of injury time, I think they touched the ball once.
Yeah.
If they didn't have Mr.
That was in the 3rd minute.
Yeah, it was it was 3.5 minutes into the injury time did they touch it. I think the thing that I noticed the most about it was in the first half, not even that early on, well, not even that late on in the game, probably within 20, 30 minutes, every single one of our players was in their half. Dylan Lawler was our furthest player back, and he was 30 yards from goal. And they had every single player behind the goal. It wasn't even like, at that point, just put your striker beyond Dylan Lawler, because he can stand in there and half and not be offside. But they just didn't seem to want to concede an inch. They just wanted to play a 5, a 4, and a 1 and get everyone behind the ball. It was the lowest of low blocks. It was lower than Stevenage's block.
I mean, Ryan Lowe.
It was Ryan Lowe.
Ryan Lowe block.
Master of the low block. But you're right, Ben.
Him as our manager, by the way, in the past.
Yeah, I know. It says a lot, doesn't it? That Plymouth had him as manager, thought they were doing great, and then his assistant took over and they did even better. It says all you need to know about Ryan Lowe.
If that's what it is week in, week out, there's something not right there, because how that's going to do anything is beyond me. And I can understand why only like 15 Wigan fans or however many it was sort of turned up, because I ain't paying to watch that, because Wigan's a hell of a long way to go on a Sunday.
Well, the
first Sunday before work.
Tomorrow, first day back in work tomorrow. As the old saying goes, you came a long way for fuck all.
You look at where they are on the table. They're 15th. They've won 7, drawn 9, lost 8, scored 26, conceded 27. What is the point? If you're a football club with those stats, what is the point? I think they've won 1 of their last 6. They beat Burton 2-0. Even then, Burton outpassed them.
Bring back Hugo Rodallega. That's what I say.
Yeah, Hugo Rodallega, Franco De Santo, Maynor Figueroa, get them all back in.
Yeah,
what?
Antonio
Let's just sit here and name some of their old players.
Like we did that for a period of time during the game today, to be fair. Amir Zaki, I think he had a spell there.
Amir Zaki, loved him.
Championship
Antonio Valencia turned up.
Valencia. Was it Paul Sharner?
Yeah.
Andre Dezea.
Callum Bannerman was playing for them still.
He was, yeah.
What's that all about? He scored the winning goal in the final, didn't he? I think he scored the winner, didn't he? I can't remember.
Cardiff Classic Shirts tweeted us and did say, is that the most corners we've ever had in a game? I've used AI because I couldn't figure out a way to do it. Google Gemini says it's our most since at least March 2018 when we had 17 corners. But in terms of a record, they think it's our highest in a game. 18 corners we had. I also think, Ryan, obviously, we only won the game 1-0. But the way we played and the way we completely dominated that game, yes, I think we can sit here and say it would have been nice to have scored a second. We had chances. We made chances. Salak had a couple. Robertson came on, had a couple of chances. Willock, Kellyman, they all had shots on goal, but could have scored. Kellyman in particular early on. But the absolute dominance of that performance, for me, it doesn't really matter that we only won 1-0 because the performance itself tells the story of how dominant we were in that game.
Yeah, exactly. It was a 1-0 win, but it was the most comfortable 1-0 win I've probably ever seen. You know, like they didn't even come close to you know, and I do think like Kellyman, I was saying like if he could finish, he'd be one of the best players on the planet
in the world.
Because it was the same in the Wrexham game. He was doing all the stuff, and set himself up really nicely, and then just like quite naff shots. I also think Mr. Tickle in goal for Wigan, which I decided to call him All Game, obviously, because it's his legal name, of course. He kept him in the game for long periods of it. He made some really important saves. There was that one that sort of looped over him, and he managed to sort of like get.
Oh, he clawed it out. It was unbelievable.
That was superb.
Paid tribute to his dad absolutely wonderfully there.
Yeah, Roger Hargreaves would have been proud. But yeah, I got to say, he was their only saving grace today. Jamie Carragher's boy, where the hell was he? He was out there apparently. Malta international, by the way.
Love that. See, that's the one thing I do quite enjoy about League One is you sort of hear these games being cancelled for like because of international call-ups. You go, who the fuck from Burton's been called up, and then they're going like St Kitts and Nevis, and like,
Montserrat.
yes, that's what I'm all about.
Montserrat.
I it's just like, when did Cardiff ever do that?
Yeah. I think what I would say about Mr. Tickle in goals was he had a habit of making it look like he was about to do a spectacular dive, but would somehow arrest and land on his feet. The first strike that Chambers had, which he got two strong hands to, it looked like he was full stretch, but somehow he landed on his feet. I was like, how has he done that?
Genetics.
It was genetics. Yeah. I think that's the thing. I was texting a friend about it, and he said that he'd been listening on Radio Wales, and people in the grandstand were like, "Oh, just cross it in, just shoot." And I think today we did that. I think we had the most crosses. I looked it up. 38 crosses, around 18% of those that were accurate. So we put the ball in the box 38 times today, which is almost half the amount of times that Wigan passed the ball around to each other. We took shots. Callum Chambers scored an absolute rasper. He had a really good chance from the one before that. We took shots. We tried to do things that we hadn't done before. And I think over the last few weeks, we've seen glimpses of this performance. The Stevenage half an hour towards the end of the game where it was just full throttle. The Wycombe first half an hour. This was 90 minutes, I think, of what BBM is all about. And I think it was a joy to watch when you think about it. You can sit there and say, oh, we tried to pass it sideways and backwards, but we got the ball to the wings. We would put crosses in. NG would overlap on Ashford. He would get the ball, put a cross in. We'd put Willock. He'd cut back inside, put a cross in. Salak had headers. We had chances that we could have scored. And I think, yes, it was only 1-0, but that was the most complete performance I think I've ever seen from a Cardiff City side in recent years in terms of dominating the play, in terms of making another team look completely neutered and completely suffocated. It was 90 minutes of just pure football from us, which, Ben, when was the last time, in your memory of supporting Cardiff City, when was the time we've ever done that? Even under Warnock,
I've knocked away from a 1-0 and sort of gone, they never looked like. There was part of me and the Beacon of Positivity, that is Hugh Kinsey, was sort of exchanging a couple of messages. It was 1-0. And we were a bit like, after like 55, we're going, this could bite us on the arse. Like only being 1-0 up and not doing that, I was a bit worried. And then it got to about 65 minutes, like, I've got no fear here whatsoever. They've got no intent to do anything.
No.
And it helped that we just absolutely controlled it. The one thing I will say is, thank fuck footballers don't listen to the crowd, because if they did, we'd have had 6 million shots. Because every 30 seconds, all you heard was, and I'm guessing it's because people were bored, because not a lot happened. It was just shoot.
Love shout and shoot every time the ball drops to anyone like 20, 30 yards out. Yeah. Obviously, it was done in jest every time Callum Chambers got the ball, which was funny for a little bit, to be fair, when he was getting it in his own half. After the goal, but
that is funny.
Love the shoot at the moment.
But they were doing it before he scored that screamer. Yeah. That's what made me laugh. It wasn't as if like that happened and they started doing it. No, they just carried on because it actually worked. I think the only time that's ever worked and a player's taken a shot on is Mark Hudson against Derby.
Yeah,
but fair play to them. The Canton will try and do it every time. And yeah.
Let's talk about, I mean, we've basically covered the game off. Let's talk about the Callum Chambers goal. Ryan, a year to the day since his goal against Middlesbrough, he pulls out another perler from his bag. what a strike it was. The volley that the keeper saved was great because he managed to curve it around. But this strike, he couldn't have put it couldn't have placed it any better in that top corner, could he?
No, I on a quick note on the first one, like the technique, because obviously he's hitting it on the volley, and like he keeps it down. We were both like, oh, when we were in the ground, we were like, oh my god, like as the old another cliche, ball stayed ball or ball stayed hit. It just sort of like moved. It was really nice, and then for him to do it again, I mean, like the fact he kept finding that space was probably on Wigan as well. But like, you know, that is an unbelievable strike. Like it is high class, and he's clearly got that in his locker because, you know, he tried it at Wigan. He's clearly got that. And yeah, I when it hit the back of the net, I did like a noise that I probably haven't done for a long time. I was like, oh, like that. It was so good. It was so good. I loved it. And God, when was the last time we scored an out-and-out screen? Well, I haven't seen us in person. Yeah, I haven't been in the ground and seen us score an out-and-out screamer for a long time, and it was really nice to see because, God, there's nothing better than someone just hitting a nice one and they're hitting the back of the net. It's a pleasure. And also, Callum James, should say, great head of hair on the boy.
Lovely head of hair.
Ooh, yeah.
Quite long. He needs a haircut, I think. He needs a bit of styling. Anyway, Ben, sorry.
I just think Chambers the last few weeks has been like really. You can see
really
why he's been around. Yeah. He's been brilliant, and like he fully deserved that goal because he's a classy footballer when he's fitting on for song, isn't he? You can see why he's played for the clubs he's played for.
He was great against Chelsea, I thought, in particular. I think we needed a player like that in a team against Chelsea when we got so many young players, and he's proven his worth.
Yeah, he is proving his worth. I mean, there's not much more we can say about the Wigan game, Ben, is there? I think my view on it is that it's the culmination of, we talked about we haven't really clicked at times this season. We've talked about how we've looked good in really good spells, but this was just, I reiterate it, it was 90 minutes of pure dominance. And yes, Wigan did sit back, but when you compare it to, I tweeted this just before we came on, last season against Middlesbrough, I think we was 130 odd passes in that game, and we got the draw away from home. Today we won 1-0 with 658 passes. That's 4.5 times more passes. There's not been a clear example of where we were last season to where we are now, is there, than today's performance?
No, we're mild. Look, I think even if we're in the championship this year, the team we've got now finishes miles ahead of the team we were last year. I think we're a really impressive side now, and we've just got to keep this together and start building. I think we're building something that could be very successful for years to come if it all stays and goes to plan. I think it was a really, really encouraging sign. It was only a 1-0 win, but the control we had and the way we sort of saw this game out is really encouraging because it's very easy. And God knows Cardiff have done it before where they've been dominant and still managed to draw a game 1-0 or lose a game 2-1. There was none of that today. It helped the Wigan were very, very passive and I can't stress enough, really, really bad. But we were equally as good. I think we were outstanding today. And
and Ryan,
we were lucky not to score.
We were lucky not to score. Ryan, you've been on this pod at the worst times, but you've been on recently, and you've said in other WhatsApp chats that it's just fun to watch Cardiff City at the moment, isn't it?
I'm having a great time. Like,
there you go.
It's lined up nicely because obviously, like, it's no secret that I watch Penabont as much as I can. And to be fair, Penabont haven't been great to watch this season, so it's been a bit of a the turns have tabled, and I'm really enjoying watching Cardiff. But it's lined up really nicely over the last 6 weeks or so that not many games have clashed, so I've been able to watch both, which is ideal for me. Like if I can watch both sides' home games all the time and pick up the odd away for both sides, then fantastic. But like and like, I don't know, maybe it's my current personal situation. I live in Grangetown. It's like a 15-minute walk to the ground. There's a few of us who started getting tickets and sitting together. Obviously, Ben's been with us a lot, and, a few of the boys, and like my dad will come up as well. It's just really nice. It's just, it feels like what football should feel like. For a while, it was just this sort of chore.
It was a chore.
Where we just go, and like I wouldn't see anyone before or after. It wasn't much of a social occasion. Me and my dad would go, we'd not really enjoy the football, and then we'd go our separate ways, and I just carry on my day. Whereas like now it's becoming a day out again. It's like we're meeting up in Grangetown, we go over to the pub, we're walking over to the ground, we're having a good laugh in the ground, and and I think the football helps that massively. And obviously, I haven't seen us lose this season, thankfully. I haven't been in any of our defeats. And long may that continue. And hopefully, fingers crossed, when the Phase 2 fixtures come out in the Cymru Premier, Penybont and Cardiff don't clash too much, and I can keep watching both of us, and hopefully I keep seeing lots of winning football.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? That's why
Carry on,
the way you did you go stock? Did we lose Stockport?
You went to Stockport. We
Stockport.
drew. It felt like a loss, even though we had that loss.
Yeah.
We were dreadful that day, weren't we? But
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
I was like, no.
When you say like the whole just making more of it, I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? Like the 29th, the best part was sort of meeting up with you guys in the pub and having that. It was just a good laugh, wasn't it?
Football
And
friends.
It really was.
But there hasn't been any of that because no one's wanted to go.
Exactly.
No one wants
it.
The thing everyone loves about Wales is, especially at the home games, is you meet up somewhere, you're in the pub, you're with everyone from you finish work and you go straight to the pub, and it's an event and you can't wait to get there. For the last probably 5 years, Cardiff have been, go on, I'll go down to Cardiff tomorrow, I'll do it. But you don't really make any plans around it. You do it and then you go home, or then you sort of stop at the bay and go to Asda and pick up your tea for the night and stuff.
Yeah.
It's people wanting to make more of it and just enjoy it again. And it's starting to feel back to what it was. It's starting to get that feeling, that connection back with it. And it's so nice because, God, it's been shit. And like nights like that make you realise just how bad it's been for the last few years.
Yeah.
Looking at the time, we're an hour and 10 minutes in. I've got the voice of the man I met at Port Vale who told me that the pod should be shorter in my ear. We go shorter, but I will not do that. We're making them longer. Also, I forgot to say, when I was at the Wycombe game, it was probably one of the drunkest away ends I've been in for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very drunk. Yeah, New Year's Day, rollover, all that kind of stuff. I would just like to give a shout out to the guy who was trying to find his seat past me. He was stumbling all over the place. And as he walked past, he just leaned in and went, "I'm fucking steaming, I am, bet." Which absolutely...
You couldn't tell.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I could, yeah, kind of showing off a bit there, mate. Anyway, we'll go to Twitter. We'll talk about Leighton Orient. Then we'll round it off and look ahead to next week. Few tweets to get through. Andrew Madden, loaded question after being caught on Cardiff City TV. Hugging a bloke I don't know and almost going arse over tit. Is it acceptable to hug total strangers? Correct answer, yes, it is. I did see that clip of you, Andrew. When you tweeted that, I looked at your profile picture and I did see you on the Instagram. Yeah, it is completely acceptable to hug random strangers. I do it all the time. Gareth Dunning says, final Christmas chocolate question. Can we all agree that Cadbury's cream eggs are banging? Yet if you have gone for heroes this Christmas, have a look in the bowl and tell me what's left. Ben, do you always leave the cream eggs in the bowl of heroes?
No, I'm a fan of them, but I think people aren't because they're very sweet.
They are very sweet.
That's probably where it catches a lot of people. I've got quite a sweet tooth. I'm all for it, but yeah, I can see why people do put them off, but they're better than the eclairs.
They are better than the eclairs. The eclairs shouldn't be there, frankly. Rick Lewis says, few, another 1-0 win where we dominate a possession all match, but they all count. First past the 50-point mark in League One this season, we'll do something right, even if we are lacking goals of late. Callum Chambers, what a thunderbolt that was, worthy of winning any game. Di Richards, no complaints. 51 points through half the season. Start of the year, we would have snapped your hands off. James Webber, Toy Story 1, 2, or 3. Ben?
Toy Story 2. I firmly believe that Toy Story 2 is the best sequel of any film ever made.
Ryan? He's having a Toy Story 2 right now. Toy Story 3 is my favourite. Chris Roper should have scored more, but they literally had Mr. Tickle in goal. Baz T says it's tickled you, mate. It needs to be discussed how good Callum Chambers is. This is from Baz T. Absolutely massive player for us. The negative he gets from fans is shocking. Kazel O'Hare, almost disappointed. Should have scored 3 or 4. 3 points, though. Now over to watch the women. Have you ever seen a team not want to win as much as Wigan? We've already talked about it. No, we have not. Yeah, if you did make it to the women's game, I was keeping track of the score, but I can't find it now. Ben, tell us what the score is while I read out the rest of the tweets. Mark Blackmore, 4 players in during the window, 2 wingers, a goal scorer, and a fullback. Thoughts? I'd agree with that. I think Baker needs cover. I do think we also need another goal scorer just in case. I don't necessarily think we need a winger, but I wouldn't mind it. Obviously, Tanner's back now, and he's been getting some game time in the last few weeks. Mike D says, I have a flutter most days and nearly always base my bets on stats most of the time as in-play stats. They don't guarantee you win, but they give you pointers on who either are the dominant team. I've literally seen countless in-game stats, and these are unbelievable. I simply cannot recall seeing a team so dominant in the game. Truly incredible stuff. The most important contract extension we can make to the club is BBMs. Get it done, even if it takes compromat. Did you find out how the women got on, Ben?
Yep, a 94th minute winner beat Wrexham. And it's a nice goal as well on the counter. And it's good limbs. It is limbs, fat, like subs on the bench, subs jackets on the pitch. It's what you want to see. Absolutely love it.
Double over Wrexham this season. Get in there. Adam Tibbs, I can't believe Wigan looked at their performance against us at their place and thought, yeah, we'll do that again. 10 points from 12 of the last 4. You'll take that every time. Trot's fan account. If Cardiff could go on our championship pre-season tour in one country we haven't been to before, where would you boys like to go? Where'd you like to go, Ben?
I don't know if it's where I'd like to go, but the fact we've still not done a Malaysian tour blows my mind.
Yeah.
How that's never happened, all the links for the last 10 years, still don't get it. But I wouldn't say no to a sort of Malaysia tour.
I wouldn't say no to that. I think I'd pick Japan at this stage. They are switching their season to go to match the European tour. I think the European kind of year to year rather than in the same year. Sorry, calendar rather than So it could happen. And I would definitely be there. We could say hello to our old boy Sonoda. Drew, another 3 points. Should have scored more, but what a joy to watch this season. Rod J. Anybody worried about BBM leaving? Celtic only team I can see that may have a vacancy that could be tempting. Otherwise, moving wife and kids after 6 months seems a bit mental to me. We will touch upon that after this. David Charles, there was a time when I dreaded us playing out from the back. Those days are gone now. Summed up by Trot dummying 2 Wigan players and drilling a pass along the goal line to Chambers. Good 3 points on a scoreline to keep one by Mr. Tickle, who isn't as good as Mr. Trot. Matthew Lockyer says, shoot. Mark Carter, shout out to Ryan Wintle. A lot of fans will see him as only being able to pass 2 yards sideways or backs, but he was spraying passes around the park against Wycombe. Deserved a better end product from others on some of his passes. He's so key to this team right now, how the tables have turned, or how the turntables, as he says. I think he was man of the match against Wycombe by a long way, and I think his defensive efforts were fantastic at times as well. Ryan March is back. Rodri says, shout out to my dad who said, oh no, it's Chambers, just before he scored. MJCCFC says, at that stage of the season, with the position we're in, where you just want to tick off the banana skins, we've got through one that's been a slip when our rivals have gone there and deserved the win. Wigan home, a lovely one to bounce back with, if we've lost this ages awfully. He put that in on New Year's Day. Dan G says, happy New Year. Love the podcast this season. Can we do 100 points? Yes, we can. Harry Dickens still had fears that something would go off someone's bum in the 101st minute, but that Wigan game was one-way traffic. Are they the worst side we've played all season? Ben, worst side we've played all season? You said worst side we've probably ever played.
I genuinely can't think of the worst side we've played.
Simon Keane says, pre-game tuna and beans on toast today. Not rushing back, but I've had worse. 6 out of 10. What's your favourite unlikely combination? Ryan, tuna and beans on toast?
Absolutely not. I'm not much of a tuna guy anyway, but that's awful stuff. Weird combinations. I'm pretty safe with my food in terms of combinations. There's always a big debate that I don't have rice with my Indian, so that's lack of a combination. No, like I'll have a second curry. Or like bhajis and like another side. Do you know what I mean? Like I think
I feel like you just have a naan.
That's class. Yeah.
Yeah, like a taka dal, like not like a full curry, but like like a taka dal or a sagaloo or something like that instead of rice.
Yeah.
I think I've not got a problem with that. There's more value in it, isn't there? There's much more value in that than there is pilau rice or whatever. So
Ben,
it's what it's going to be, and I put a tweet out about this. Yeah, but I'm not having sort of all the grief I've had over the years, the abuse. I got heckled in Subway once about my ketchup and barbecue on a kebab, and some monsters out there eating beans and tuna. Yeah, I think they're the real criminal.
Simon Keane, the Brussels Bushman, and I will leave it there.
Morgan Davis, Happy New Year. Joel Colwell. Notice that on comms today, everyone says Joel Colwell rather than Colwill. Missed a massive chance and Tanner off the pace when he came on. This is against Wycombe. Decent point, good away day, but 2 points definitely dropped. Sven says, Wintle superb. Hope you boys had a good Crimbo and New Year. Any New Year's resolutions for you lot? Ryan, any New Year's resolutions?
Ooh, just crack on and have a laugh still, innit?
Nice, yeah. Ben?
It's not New Year's resolutions, but I've just put my house for sale. So if you want to buy a house in the Cardiff area, let me know because we want to sell.
Mine's going to be hit a 180 in darts and get swole at the gym.
Ben, I can remember
neither of those will happen because that didn't happen last year either.
I remember when we went to QPR on New Year's Day, would have been 2024 New Year's Day, and you said you wanted to hit a 180 this year, and that's obviously been 2 full years ago now. So keep on throwing darts, mate.
Not 2 full years ago because it was only if that was 2024, it's only been 2025. It's 1 year.
No, you've had all of 2024 and
I didn't play as much.
You've had 2 full years.
No, because Oh, I confused New Year's Day. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I
New
still
Year's
haven't
Day
done it.
2024. 23.
Sorry,
that
yeah.
Right,
we
Ryan's
went
13
to-
years ago is
Yeah.
suddenly forgotten, isn't it?
And we went
Look,
to that
we've been
brilliant
talking for an
Irish
hour.
pub
We did go,
in
Mother Red Cap.
in Upper
Holloway.
Holloway, and
Yeah.
they'd closed like the following week, and it had that
They did
brilliant
close the following
dartboard,
week.
and those two random girls,
Indie
who
girls,
I
yeah.
think
Well,
one was Welsh. She was moving to Ghana or something.
One was
wasn't she?
Scottish and one was moving to Ghana.
Yeah, but I think they knew Katie Owen, didn't they? That was the
Katie
Welsh
Owen.
connection. And yeah, for some reason she was moving to Ghana, and she was like, "Yeah, just life's better in Ghana." I was like, "All right."
Yeah. Listen,
Who
I
am I
will
to
say
judge?
on my maths, we've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. It's the longest pod we've ever done.
Sorry.
So
We have had 4 games.
we have had 4 games.
4 games. League.
James Webber says about Wycombe, not a bad performance, but a little frustrating. Chances missed and cleared off the line. Passes slightly off target. Players caught in possession. Overall, a bit slow below the standards we've set. On another, we score a winner. None of the above is mentioned. Just one of those days. Dylan McNabb, Happy New Year. Really gutted that we didn't take all 3 points at Wycombe when other teams around us dropped points, but at least it's not a loss. Off topic, but curious, what are your first memories of watching Cardiff City play? We'll have to come back to that. Warren says, do you still think we'll absolutely hammer someone and score 7 in any one match a season? Many games were won by a goal. However, I'm very pleased with the way we performed to date this season. Gigi the Bluebird, if you had to choose between Salak and Jay Bothroyd, who would you go for? They're fairly similar types of players, but for me, it would be Jay. I think he was the more complete player and really underrated by some fans compared to Chops.
He was a clown, wasn't he, Jay Bothroyd? And Salak is not, so...
Jay Bothroyd, friend of the pod, go listen to his interview with him that we did. It's on our audio feeds. We had a good interview with him during COVID times. Richard Endicott, was it a swan or a badly drawn goose? I think it's a badly drawn goose. This is reference to a conversation we had at the Wycombe game. Alex Bennett, have we discussed no context trot yet? Man's Insta posts are fantastically random. I think he has the best Instagram presence of any footballer I've ever seen. He posts these kind of carousels of sporting moments like Tiger Woods sinking putts, Baker Mayfield making throws to the Buccaneers, cartoon squares from comic books, and great photos of like Yusuf Salak. Or him walking onto the pitch. I think it's some of the best. And Oliver Rees rounding it off saying, #no tattoo. 2 things before we go, Ben Price. Is BBM leaving for Strasbourg?
Not Strasbourg, no.
Oh, but you might be leaving for someone else?
He might do. It probably will. I think you look at the job he's doing, he's going to be very attractive, but he's mates with Maresca. He knows what's going on. There's a reason Maresca went, no, I'm done, boys, ta-ra. He's not putting himself. He's a very, very smart man. He's not going to chase the coin like someone like Rob Edwards.
Yeah,
he's going to go for a move.
Mate, Enzo as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's not making a move to someone that's going to harm his career. And I'm not worried right now. He'll go when he goes. He will go to a club and we'll be like, yeah, fair enough. You can't turn that down.
He was asked after the game, Ryan. He said, I don't know. I love Cardiff. I love being at Cardiff. I love it. You think he loves it? I feel very lucky to be here. That's pretty emphatic at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, we are quite an attractive prospect. I think our ceiling's really high. I know, obviously, there's still question marks over the ownership and everything that comes with that, and we don't need to go into that now. That's well documented. Just listen to any time I've ever been on this podcast.
Our ownership is less of a basket case than Chelsea.
Very true, yeah. And like, do you go into that system where you sort of like? I think he's broken out of that system now, isn't he? Where he's the manager of Cardiff City,
yeah.
And we've got this really good young squad. You know, I think with the right, if he keeps doing what he's doing, there'll be money to spend, and like. The ceiling for this club is so high, and he could be the man to take us maybe all the way. No, I say all the way. I don't know what all the way is, but do you know what I mean? Like, you know, he's going to take us up this year, barring. Weirdly, one of the boys said earlier, like, do you think we'll win the league? I was like, yeah. The only way we wouldn't is if he does get poached and they replace him with an absolute muppet, which, knowing Cardiff, could very much happen. But like, he's going to get a lot of. I mean, he's been every job that's come up in the last like 2 weeks. He gets linked to it, and like it's just going to keep happening. And we've just got to, you know, I think Celtic will probably sack Nancy this week. He'll probably come up again for that. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like we've just got to ride it out. And until he leaves, then we just got to enjoy it, and hopefully it lasts. 3, 4, 5, 6, who knows, even 10, 15 years in the future. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
And then finally, Ben, next week, Leyton Orient, a bizarre team. They sit 20th in the league, but I do actually worry for this game because obviously the performance at the home game, they managed to put 3 past us. What's your take on this next week? We're gonna beat Leyton Orient in their home turf?
I think if we came away with a point after everything that's gone on during Christmas and sort of the results we've had, if you'd come out of this with just a point, it's a good point. Anything other than a loss is a happy result, I think. But it's going to be a very, very difficult fixture.
They lost over Christmas. They lost 3-1, I think, yesterday on New Year's Day. Sorry, they lost 3-1 to Wimbledon at home. They lost to Peterborough away. They've lost to Luton away. They've lost to Barnsley away. They did beat Bradford at home. So that is the worry for me. Ryan, what's your take on next Saturday's game?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, it just feels like one of those games that we've just got to get through however we can. It was such a bonkers game, that first game, and I don't know if that means anything going into this one. I don't really know, to be honest. It's quite hard to say, isn't it? But I mean,
they're in a stinking run of form, which I didn't realise looking at. I didn't realise they're just above the relegation zone. And they're far better than where they are. Yeah,
that's it, really, isn't it? Their position kind of underlines. It kind of goes against the way they play, doesn't it? They shouldn't be 20th in the league the way that they played against us. They should be higher than that.
You got players like Aaron Connolly who are so dangerous as well. So
he's injured.
Oh, there we are. Well, we're going to win 4-0.
There we go. That's a bit of positivity.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're going, Ben. It is your most local game ever. I don't think you can get a full league game that's more closer to you, is it?
No, you can't really. I can walk there in about 25 minutes.
There we are. I'd love to be going. I'm gutted I'm not, but it's just fallen on the wrong weekend for me. Too early.
And also, you wouldn't get a ticket because it was one of the hardest games I've ever seen. For people to get tickets for. It's sold out. It's sold out before any other game this season.
Yeah, I knew it'd be really popular. So yeah, I mean, I had no chance. So no plans were made, and the train hack is currently not active. So yeah, wasn't spending all that money to go to that there, London.
It's one I wanted to go to, but then Fee's granddad selfishly died. So you know.
Whoa! That's just being a bum.
Bury in the arse. I really wanted to go
in the lead. Wow!
Really wanted to go and
look, predictions. We going to win, Ben?
Yeah, I think it'll be a scrappy 2-1 win.
Ryan, win. You can just say yes or no if we're going to win.
4-0. I said it just now.
Lovely stuff.
4-0.
Lovely stuff. Right, I'm going to wrap this up because we've been here for almost an hour and a half. This is going to be the longest podcast ever. That's the title right there, Ben. Twitter.com/VFTNinian. If you are watching on YouTube and you've made it this far, fucking unbelievable. But please like and subscribe. KFI.com/VFTNinian. We'll be back after the Leyton Orient game next week. Ryan, thanks for joining us as always.
Anytime. Love it.
Ben, see you next week, mate.
Bye.